breaking out a little bit. There you go.
But yeah, okay. Yeah, you can the text message from Denmark. Just gonna send this real fast.
Okay.
Okay, my apologies.
No worries.
Can you see me now? So, all right.
Turned off my truck. All right, yeah. So I think that really answered that question. I think that really aligns with the research that you had recently came across.
That's crazy that stuff happens like in class. That's wild, and the fact that you know, like you're having to disclose your own story and have it distorted in front of you is I can't believe that stuff happened.
Yeah.
I think you kind of answered this one, but do you have any like friendships or anything like that while you were at UCLA? Or did you have difficulty? Because like you said, you had difficulty with like jobs, but like internships sometimes can be a little more flexible. Did that ever come up when you were at UCLA?
Yeah, so I don't know what I told you about me, but I was also president of was it University, which is family and graduate housing for UCLA over at the Sawtell, Sepulveda, Rose, Keystone Mentone, and Venice Berry.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I was running for that position, there was a time where the person I was running against, who had already a master's, who was there, living with her husband or significant other, and she found out that I was formerly incarcerated by somebody.
Wow.
And then sent me a message saying, "Hey, I know you're formerly incarcerated, but I don't think the people that you're trying to solicit votes from would appreciate that. And I'm not going to tell them, but just be careful," or something like that. It was like and I don't understand the reason for that message. Like, I know I'm formerly incarcerated, much like how people know when they wake up whether they're male or female, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know that, like, I know this. And so I didn't respond to it because I don't respond to shit. But, like, to even have somebody bring it up,
right,
I think it's just some level of ignorance.
Yeah, I mean that feels almost like a unsaid threat. Like, I ain't gonna say nothing, but if someone brings it up, I'm not gonna deny it or whatever. Like.
Exactly, right? And it's like, you wouldn't say that about another part of somebody's identity. That's like the one part of somebody's identity that can have a past, right? In some parts of social life, right? Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, you won't say that about like somebody's gender. You won't say that about somebody's race because that shit's frowned upon. But you'll go ahead and say that shit about somebody's criminal history.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, that was one of the things that came up over at the community programs office. My background was probably my background was actually helpful, right?
Mm-hmm.
they're like, oh, background. This is actually, something that would be helpful. And so they took me in, although I think at some, a little bit begrudging, they were a little apprehensive, I should say,
Mm-hmm.
just because, me being white. And so, because they not only support students of color, but my background was enough for them to go ahead and qualify me to be a part of them.
Mm.
So that was like the only time I did get a job, or I did get an interview with the library, but with the library, that stuff never even came up, and I really never talked about my past job experiences because I didn't want to bring up being in prison.
Mm.
When I was in prison, I did a lot of I want to say a lot of legal work, but became familiarized with some legal forms and how to apply them just based on necessity.
Mm-hmm.
And so never talked about that when I was in the library or in the interview or any of my clerical experiences, because some of it was in prison. I learned how to shepherdize law stuff while I was in county fighting my case because I didn't want to get a life sentence because that's what my first offer was.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I'm just not being able to talk. So that's probably the one part over at UCLA I did. I kind of felt awkward on.
Mm. Okay. We talked about housing already. Is there anything that you want to mention about? Because I know you mentioned that there was issues with housing on campus. Was there ever? Did you ever live off campus and have issues with housing in that situation?
Yeah, I mean, even now, being married, one issue that I deal with housing is with AB 1008, it's pretty clear as to whether I go ahead and not put my former or my past record on a job application, but it's not clear with housing.
Right.
That area is so gray that I ended up just calling the housing place because I'm you can kind of say my personality is kind of confrontational.
Mm-hmm.
So I just called the realtor. I'm like, hey, look, I went to prison for this. I'm applying to be, get over there. What do you suggest? And they're like, well, just pay the application fee and just see what it's like. And I'm like, shit, right? Go ahead and just spend money just to get denied. That's
Right.
the things that go through my mind. And then the other thing is my wife is then also having to navigate that same space, and she's never been incarcerated for anything, arrested for anything. And so it's not just for housing, it's not just one person.
Mm-hmm.
It's the entire family that deals with it. And so just not knowing the laws or if there are any laws about that, that's just so very unclear with formerly incarcerated people. Even with my experiences being out, the one time I passed the background check while on parole to get housing, it's probably because they didn't check my background. And I ended up moving into some really hood apartments. I ended up getting bullets going through my walls when I was sleeping. I woke with sheetrock all over my body.
Whoa.
Yeah, and so that's the kind of apartments I qualified for. But outside of living other places outside of that, there usually one time is there's one time somebody they managed a housing company and they went ahead and just knew my background and they actually understood who I was, took the time to get to know me, and then allowed me to rent one of their houses. So, just being able to navigate almost like an underground economy or underground spaces